Welcome to Legacy Cast, where we talk about your story, your way, and what are you doing to make sure that people know about you many generations from now. Welcome, Legacy Cast listeners. This is your host, James Snow, and we have another exciting episode today that we have a guest with us today, Carrie Walters. And here we're going to be talking about, as we do every day, we talk about what people are doing in their world that is going to make a difference, not only in the lives of their families and the community around them, but the world at large. And so we, have a guest, Carrie Walters, with us from a little bit of the northern part of our country, from Michigan, I believe it is, that they're having much cooler weather than we are here in Texas. We're somewhere around 130 degrees, I think, today. And so, the cars are melting and the animals are digging deep holes. And she's enjoying a much nicer climate there. But I'd like to welcome Carrie to the program today.
Thank you, James, so much. It is beautiful here in Holland, Michigan today. It's not quite as sunny and lovely as it has been, but it's a nice rainy 65 today, so we'll take it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're envious. That's a pretty good, pretty good difference between what you have there and what we have here. I mean, it's just the real temperatures here have been, approaching 110. And so, that's a good 50 degree spread. And I'm sure I can understand why the snow bunnies, from down here hit up that way. So.
And then in reverse, when the snow starts falling, they run away.
I would much rather have the cold than the heat. So, I'm with those guys.
I lived in Jacksonville, Florida for 15 years of my life. So I've put in my years in the South. It was very hot, for sure, very hot. But moving to Michigan has been amazing.
Oh, I bet. And just from what I've seen, I've never personally been to Michigan, but from what I've seen there, especially Upper Peninsula and that area, just it's gorgeous.
We live in West Michigan, so we're right on the coast of Lake Michigan, and it's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. I can drive 15 minutes one way and hit a Great Lake. I can drive 5 minutes from my house and hit rolling farmland. We have about 35 parks here that are run by the city, which is incredible. And there's water. There's so much stuff to do here. The climate is amazing, and it's just damn pretty. Yeah,
and a perfect place to raise a family, I'm sure.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. My husband grew up here, which is what brought us back. And I was hesitant just for a little bit, just for 1 second, because, it was familiar. I lived in Jacksonville for a long time, and I was leaving the house that I brought both my children home from the hospital to. And we made a big switch almost 5 years ago and moved on up to Michigan, where all of his family and all of our support system is now. And I love it. Seasons are awesome.
And you get a lot of the Dutch influence on it, as I understand it, with all the foods and what have you that are there. So
it's crazy.
Some lutefisk and all sorts of nice pastries and things, which would certainly increase my waistline if I was up that way.
I actually worked at a Dutch-run bakery. It was a father and his 3 sons, and they had always owned this bakery, and it was awesome.
Oh yeah,
very, very good. All handmade breads, pastries, cookies, all the things.
Okay.
Good stuff.
After this program, I'll get some plane tickets. So, as the name of the program, Legacy Cast, would imply, we talk about legacies, but a lot of people think, at first glance, that it's going to be about a monetary thing, and though that does play into what a legacy for a person and for a family is, it's not the only thing, because really, the way that I look at it, a legacy is a story. It's your story told your way about the things that you care about, the things that you're passionate about, what you've done in your life. That's really going to make a difference. And so when you, Carrie, are looking at maybe your family legacy, what does that meaning have to you?
My husband Chris and I, we stand united in knowing that we want our kids to live a life that we might not have experienced. And that's not to say that we didn't have great lives. My father's a commander in the Navy still, My mother is a doctor of education. Chris's parents are wonderful, wonderful people. They've worked in their jobs for many years. But all of our parents work jobs. All of our parents have higher level commitments. My father was gone, clearly. He was Navy. He was gone a lot. My mother worked a lot. Chris's parents worked a lot. So there was just a huge gap between the time that we felt that we got with our families when we were children and what we want to give our children. Which, when we kind of sat down and we really thought about the things that are the most important to us, time with our kids is number one. Time with each other is number 1B, you know?
Sure.
So, and beyond that, everything else we know will follow. If we are living a life where we're committed to spending as much time as we can together, raising our kids, and teaching them the things that we feel are so important, commitment, hard work, tenacity, grit, and being really nice, awesome, good people, we don't feel like we want to put that in the hands of anybody if we can help it. So like, I don't homeschool my kids or anything, but I've thought about it. But then I thought again, because I have really social, awesome children, but I was working 65 hours a week as an executive chef of a restaurant just a year ago.
Wow.
And I came into a time in my life where I was really just conflicted with the way that we knew we wanted to raise our kids and our reality. And we made a big change, and I literally quit. I walked away. There was a third life crisis. I don't know if I've talked to you, James, about our theory of the third life crisis that happens between like 28 and 35 a lot of times, where things just kind of come back into perspective. And I changed everything that I was doing. And I immediately was home with my kids and started realizing that once I had time, I actually had time to let my brain think about all the things that it was capable of, which is a thing. And we dreamed up our business, and that's been amazing. So, you know, time is freedom. A lot of people, like you said, play money directly into freedom, and that's a piece of it, you know, but if you have time, you're free.
Yeah, and that's very important, because, you know, money really is just a tool. It's a tool that's to be used, but it's not the begin all end all piece. You know, family and the work-life balance is much more important, because those are the things that are going to really add dividends to your life, and that's what's going to add color to your life and true value to your life.
Meow. Yeah. So and the kids are awesome, and we also got to a place where we knew that we were not going to have any more children. We're done with that phase of our life. My daughter is about to start kindergarten, and we're not having any more babies. So
it sounds like from what you said, that it's really important to spend time considering, you know, what is your family legacy going to look like. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was definitely correct. No, ma'am. Go watch your show. You cannot play with my laptop because I haven't gotten it ready for you to play with, and I don't know what you can destroy if you open it. No, ma'am.
I will destroy it.
You wouldn't do it on purpose.
I will destroy it. I'm not going to destroy it.
Go play.
I'm not going to destroy it.
All right, that's enough now.
This is why we love. This is why we love families. You know, it's
it's
it adds
great.
it adds color. It adds color, and
this is like the everyday life. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I love it. You know, I'm not going to edit this from the program, because, you know, this is what makes life real. You know, it's the stuff that, you know, it's true and it's raw. You know, that's what you're just going to get the real story. And so,
you know, as we've come into our business and our plans and considerations of our clients, I absolutely will not accept clients that don't accept the fact that this is my life and my business all in one little ball. And that's just how it is. And having the freedom to be able to distinguish that. Because has been amazing. But yeah, you know what? Going from that place where you sit and consider what you want your legacy to be to actually being at a place where you've come through the steps and you've made the changes that are necessary to get there, that actualization part is really challenging. Really challenging. And it's the inner growth challenging, the hardest thing to work on, for sure.
So how do you correlate all of that into what you and your husband do as a business? It's having that legacy is an important thing, but how do you take that piece of what you've put together and then incorporate that into what you're doing as a business?
So he would love to work on the business more. He's definitely a player in what we're doing. But aside from my husband, I'm working with my business partner, Tanya. Tanya and I are very passionate about small businesses, locally owned businesses. And so, again, I was in restaurants for 13 years. And in my restaurant career, I always gravitated towards mom and pop owned places. And for me, it was a way that I could make a greater impact with my position, knowing the skills that I brought with me and the things that I could do that were outside of that skill set for that restaurant. So I have a culinary degree and a business degree, which helps a lot. So I was able to really come and step in and put some systems in place for small businesses who might not have been able to hire a consultant and a chef. And I could kind of roll that together, which was really helpful. But I just kept getting burned, literally, figuratively. I just kept getting burned. I knew that I got to a place where I knew I was never going to make any more money, work any less hours than I was. And it was just not sustainable for our family at all. So that change was dramatic and very difficult. And it happened very quickly, but I kind of landed on my feet a little bit and was able to do some catering and do some consulting work, just things that popped up here and there to kind of bring me through the transition, which was really nice. But then I was sitting there just looking at all the things that I could do, knowing that I wanted to work directly with business owners in a way that was impactful for their local market, in a way that could allow them to support other small businesses in their area. So I have seen lots of places. I was a Navy kid. We moved around a lot. My husband and I love to travel in the United States. We haven't done a lot of out of the United States traveling, but we love small towns and we love small businesses. So we really wanted to find a way that we could help small businesses become a network within their town and share some of their marketing experience and allow them as a collective or a group of businesses to shine brighter in their communities. So that was the big idea. And then it kind of came into the small pieces as business usually does. So we do, excuse me, Lord have mercy. We do business outreach. So it's like direct outreach marketing for small businesses. And we're using beacon technology. So Bluetooth beacon devices to transmit messages to people who are within a bubble near a business or near a business vehicle. And then we combine that with Facebook marketing automation through many chatbots. So we have the beacon message that's transmitting a message. The chatbot receives the traffic from that beacon message. And then we have a system where we can program the chatbot to pre-qualify or educate or get lead information or pretty much anything that that business wants to do to the people who are in their area, because the traffic comes from the beacon and it's local. We also have a signage piece in there too, which is pretty cool. It has NFC technology, so where you can one-touch access people right into something specific that maybe a business wants, like their app or a coupon or stuff like that. So, excuse me. We're using these simple technology pieces and creating a system that works to get leads locally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We'll have an ice cream cup after we eat real food.
I eat cereal.
Cereal is real food. You need to stop doing that. No.
Okay.
Ask me nicely, maybe, in a little bit.
Please.
And the official stance here at Legacy Cast is ice cream is real food. People.
Ice cream is real food.
Especially if it's chocolate with chocolate chunks. And
Okay. Well, if you can get it on your own, then, survival of the fittest, ice cream style. So we created this simple way to generate local leads for small businesses. And through the process, we've developed our own back-end system for our beacons in a way that we're managing all of these services for our clients.
Sure.
And it's automated and it's easy for them. So we'll have like 1 or 2 marketing meetings a month and talk about the schedule and talk about the goals. We'll implement the technology that they already have physically in their hands, sync everything up, and it's good. So super easy to use, really powerful. When you think about how open-ended they are. Chatbots are hot. Chatbots are super hot.
It sounds like you're taking, I've heard of other people, offering the business of, the beacon technology, but not really, pairing it up with all of these other elements. So that sounds like a very unique, formula that you come up with.
It is. But we kind of have been sitting on it for a while. There are lots of players in the beacon field, for sure. Right off the rip, there are 2 MLMs that sell beacons. And I found myself in one of those MLMs receiving the beacon that they had. And that's kind of what started the spark for all of this. I'm like, well, this beacon, I see the possibility. I have the ability to think outside of the box and see all the things that this can do. The very first time I took a beacon out, I was actually in that time when I was doing lots of catering and private chef work just for myself. Mm-hmm. And I took my beacon and I hid it in my grocery store on the wine aisle. And I promoted private chef services inside the grocery store and I filled my calendar. And I'm like, oh, this really makes sense. But there was all of this other stuff that I needed to know how to do to get that lead information back to me so that I could do something with it. And what we found was all the brands that are selling beacons are just selling the beacons. They don't have any services that go with them, or if they do, they're really minimal. And they're assuming that you have a certain amount of things already in place to make this successful, or that business owner is willing to do all the self-learning required to get those things in place, or hire somebody else to do it. And we felt like it was going to be the most powerful if we could just do it. Here's your stuff. Turn it on. It's great. We have spent lots of time. We have a team. I actually just onboarded a bunch of interns last week, and they're really awesome. But we have brains, we have hands, and we take care of all the little details and the tedious, let's have a brain jam and come up with 40 character messages for real estate agents. Like, that's something that happens with our brand. No, baby, I cannot help you get one right now. Use your stool. Woo, yeah. You'll have to find it. I can't help you right now. You know what? You're a smart girl. I know you can figure out how to get that ice cream. Go use a blue chair. Okay. No, so the all-in-one is what is totally different, and we've continued to do research through our development, and I feel pretty confidently that there is still not any other agency models for beacons. But again, it took me 8 months to develop this system, thinking about it every single day, doing the chatbot training, doing the beacon training, coming up with all my stuff, talking to people who are actually in the industry, in these niche markets that we serve, and putting all that information back into good stuff, like tactile things that we can mail our businesses. So we do have a partnership with a printing company as well, which has also been really awesome. So we're able to create our digitized signage as an addition to signs that businesses already have. So you don't have to order a whole new set of signage to implement our system. You just got to go put your stickers on. So things like that, considerations like that. Good job. She's retrieved the ice cream.
Okay, so it's ice cream time here at Legacy Cast. I'm gonna be hitting the carton here pretty soon.
I'm sorry, baby. Okay, you go enjoy your ice cream, okay? You earned it. You got it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, it's almost 12 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 12 o'clock somewhere. I think I've heard that before.
Okay. We'll deal with lunch in a minute, honey. Go eat your ice cream. Probably.
Please.
Can you stop asking me about more ice cream before you eat the one in your hand?
I don't have one in my
This girl's going to be a prosecutor, by the way. That's my prediction.
Oh yeah, no, we need those too. So if you're
Drives
thinking
a hard
about
one.
if you're thinking about your business kind of from a CEO standpoint, would you say that there's a few things that are maybe keeping you up at night about your business and its future? Maybe one or two things.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're working with a team. It's an amazing team. Like, I'm pretty woo. I don't know where you stand, James, with the woo, but I don't feel like you can be a financial guy and not be a mindset guy also, because those two, correct me if I'm wrong, those two things for sure go together. Our team just appeared in front of us. Tanya and I had a conversation one time, and I told her about Beacons, and her mind was blown, and she stayed up for 3 nights, and she was just buzzing about it. And then I started doing a digital marketing internship, and I learned about chatbots, and then I for real couldn't sleep, like, at all, because the power and the open-endedness is really what keeps me up, because I know in my mind that there's always something else that we can do. There's always something bigger. Because everything that we're doing is completely manipulatable for anybody. Pretty much. It's just at the limits of your own imagination. So managing the team, like being able to delegate things, is something that I've been working on tremendously. And it's been challenging for sure. But the good news, I think, for me is that I did come from that restaurant background that's so team focused. I'm used to having a team around me to support the greater idea.
Indeed.
So translating that to digital, I think, was the hardest piece, and actually just learning the skills and learning the tools to use to make that happen digitally has been huge. That came together this month, thank goodness. Trello, I don't know if you Trello, but Trello is my favorite business tool. Oh, it's amazing to have 5 different people on one board of list of things to do. It's great, super great tool for teamwork. So the delegation keeps me up at night. Is everything always going to be okay with me and my business partners piece? You know, I think that there's, in the pit of your stomach, there's always the question. Like, I inherently trust all of my business partners, but, you know, you always wonder, because people are people and people are unpredictable. So, yeah, just scaling and growth. I've had a really rough week this past week, and I couldn't figure out why I was so exhausted. Just like, I felt like I had the flu. Like, I thought that I was pregnant. Total transparency. Like, what in the hell is wrong with me? I can't, like, I'm sleeping all the time. I can't wake up. I can't, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. And I was talking to one of my good friends, and she goes, "You're just going through huge amounts of transition in a really short period of time." And I kind of really thought about it. I'm like, yeah. We shaved our rollout from November to 2 weeks from now.
Goodness.
Yeah. And that's stressful. It's amazing to grow and to accelerate so quickly, but then you're processing all of those things that you would have normally had 4 months to deal with. You get like,
yeah,
rapid fire decision making. But yeah, it's all been great. Truth be told, challenging, exhausting, amazing. I can't wait to hold my product in my hand. I didn't ever think that I would have a tangible digital product, which was something that was important for me. And I think that is something that's important to a lot of our clients, is being able to actually hold a thing that they paid for, a service that they pay for every month. They can physically see it, they can touch it, they can use it, they can interact with it. And that closes the gap on some of the hesitation between small businesses and digital marketing, where they're like, well, what the hell are you actually doing for me? I can't hold it, touch it, see it, it's a different plane of space. So we've seen lots of positive reviews just from having things that can sit on somebody's countertop and they can talk about, which is pretty cool. So
and that kind of that touches on one of the difficulties that I've run into obviously with my space is yes, you can hold money in your hand, but it's even harder to tie the correlation between we're doing this thing that's uncomfortable for you because you're having to cinch up your belt a little bit and maybe cut some corners on what you thought you were going to be spending in order to do something later on that's going to benefit you. So when you're talking about the emotional or the mental, it's not so tangible. And so when you have something you hold in your hand, it's different.
It is. And honestly, that was one of my biggest personal struggles coming out of food and beverage and going into doing things digitally. And all of it was within myself, 100%. And I finally had a couple of people who kind of drug it out of me in February. And they're like, what in the hell? Why are you giving yourself such a hard time? I'm like, well, I don't feel like I'm actually doing anything for anybody. And they're like, bullshit. I'm like, but I can't see it. I can't touch it. And my whole career was made of things that I did ordering and that was invisible, but the product showed up in front of me, and then you take physical things and you transform them into other physical things. And closing that gap and feeling like I could still be productive and not have tangibles. It was mind blowing.
That's a hard transition.
Yeah.
I'm sure that is a hard transition.
And I think that some of it had to do with my age and the fact that I've rocketed through my 20s. I'm only 30 and people go, oh, you're only 30. I'm like, yeah, but I had 2 kids at 25 and I was heads down working when the people around me were going digital. And I was literally heads down working. And then I kind of got out of it and I'm looking around. I'm like, why are all my friends are making money online? Oh, I want to make money online. That sounds amazing. And it is.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so
I'm 45. I'm 45 and I'm still trying to get my head around, making money online sometimes.
Yeah. And then sometimes you get that tangible where you actually have money. Sometimes I have literally had to go to my checking account and pull money out and go, all right, and bring myself back down and ground it a little bit. I'm bare feet in the grass, ground to the earth kind of girl. And sometimes you just have to go through those steps and make those actions and bring yourself back down to earth a little bit. Okay, this is actually happening.
You mentioned something earlier that I kind of wanted to go back to a little bit here because it's sort of where my next question kind of comes in is believing in creating strategies within your business and also your personal life as well. But in this particular case, business, when you're talking about having other partners and how to you maybe you were mentioning kind of kept you up at night as far as keeping the other partners happy and keeping that relationship going and so forth. Do you feel like for other people that would be listening to the program that maybe are experiencing that same kind of angst in their business life, that putting together some sort of strategy that maybe creates a little bit more loyalty between partners, do you think that'd be an appropriate consideration for them?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have gone through the legal steps of partnership.
Right.
After lunch, we'll have lots of other things. Okay, thank you. Can you go throw this away, please?
Not mine. Not mine.
Then go watch your show.
Not
Now she's wired. Sugar. Definitely go through the legalities. There was a huge amount of personal relief that came the day that we realized that everything was, I mean, you never can guarantee 100% that everything's going to work out okay, but now at least I can guarantee that my own ass is covered if anything happens.
Yep.
And that's, you know, that personal level of responsibility. I have 2 kids. We have to have protections for our livelihood.
Sure.
That was a huge box to check. Knowing that my partners felt the same way about that same conversation, like we all kind of walked around the bush a little bit before we had that talk. But once we finally broke ground on that conversation, we realized we were all on the same page. We had the same insecurities. We had the same hesitations. And when we brought all of those things to light and we whiteboarded it, put a name on it, we're like, okay, well, what do we do to work through this as a group? And then we did it. And it relieved the stresses all the way across the board. You're always going to hear stories about partnerships that fall apart. I heard one very recently, it broke my heart. I think that those are the exception and that's not the rule. And truthfully, the way that I've been able to plow through is knowing that I trust myself and I trust my instincts with people and I trust the people that I do business with, and I have no reason not to. We've proven to each other time and time again that we're all in this together. And our model is maybe a little bit different. We're not in an incredible amount of debt for our startup, which is awesome. It's been a huge sweat equity project. And in that sense, making sure that we have all just been checking in with each other from time to time, and we know that we're all putting in the work still, that has moved us at a rapid rate. For sure. Yeah, it's good. We have the disbelief, the holy shit, this is actually happening. We're going to order some products now. Conversations, we're on a pre-sale model, which I highly encourage for anybody who wants to do a startup and you're a little hesitant about it. Figure out how to pre-sell, which has kept us from jumping in head first financially to things that would add a lot more stress to the situation. So that's been huge. I can't stress that enough.
Yep. Yeah, and there really is a lot of value of, you know, having that conversation. It's what I've called, you know, with many of my clients, you know, it's that head trash that we tell ourselves, you know, that we don't want to have that conversation, but really we need to, because the other person, you know, involved is also having that conversation with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
Absolutely.
when you put that on the table, you know, then you realize, okay, the world is not so huge that I'm thinking something that the next person is not thinking. You know, there really is nothing new going on in the world. You know, it's just a version of itself. And so, you know, the other people involved are thinking the same thing, and you know, they're concerned about the same things that you're concerned about. And so, you know, sitting down and putting together those tangible, you know, legal structures and the tangible financial structures into the business is so important, because, you know, you're able to then take that off the table. Mm-hmm. And you're able to address that, like you said, you know, checking that big checkbox, and then you're able to put that away, because then it's no longer an issue. It's no longer the elephant in the room, and you're able to move on to other things that are going to be more, you know, the more money making issues. And then, you know, obviously, you know, if things come up in someone's life where they're not able to be part of the business, you know, any longer, then you've already crossed that bridge, and so it doesn't have to become, you know, a big stumbling block for the business, because you've already addressed it. You've already, you know, covered that. You already know what you're going to do. And so there's no mystery involved.
Absolutely.
And that I think is one of the things that causes so many businesses, to end up folding, or they run into a period where maybe they have to go into bankruptcy, which you've probably seen yourself with other business owners. That if they had only spent the time, to just sit down and have that conversation, as uncomfortable as it may have been, then it really does come into play of having some value.
Absolutely, and I think honestly,
that could have stopped it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes right back down to, well, why are we in this? Why are we in our own businesses in the first place?
Sure.
I built my own business because I was tired of getting fucked over by restaurant owners. It just is. I always try to be someone who is producing the best quality of work and consistently had that trashed, smashed, claimed by other people, and a girl can only take so much is pretty much where that ended.
Right.
And I decided at that point that I would never put myself in a position again where something like that could happen and affect me so dramatically that I would just walk away from my whole career. We figure out how to not have this happen again. 100% by working with other people, we have been able to grow so fast and go so far and have so many more ideas on the table that I would have never been able to think about on my own. There is a tremendous value in sharing your business with other people. I mean, we hear it all the time from entrepreneurs. I'm so exhausted, I can't do everything all by myself. And I'm like, shit, no, I would never even try to do anything by myself. I mean, I work with Tanya, my business partner, because she's been doing digital marketing for 10 years. And that was not a skill set that I had on my resume at all. I know what I'm very good at. I'm very good at aligning teams. I'm very good at creating systems and finding the problem and finding a really simple solution. I've been doing that for a long time. I don't know how to run email marketing. Those kind of disconnects. We found our partnership and the strength of our partnership in knowing that it is very mutual. She is excellent at things that I don't ever want to, like, I know a little bit about, I'm learning more about, but it's not a functional piece of what I need to be able to do every day. Right. It's hers. You're fine. That's your baby. Keep your baby. And it's just been like that back and forth. And then we brought in our development partner, and it's just been like that on a whole other plane. And we stay in our lane, and we do what we're good at, and we check back in with each other before we make decisions. And it's awesome. Awesome. But if your gut tells you at any point in time that maybe this is harder than it should be, why am I having to cram this idea into something else to make it work? Then that's really when you stop and you say, hey, what the hell? Why is this so hard all of a sudden? And we haven't really had any of those moments, but I have in other projects. That all of a sudden the original idea is so contorted and convoluted that you don't recognize it anymore. Stop. Figure out why. Figure out where that came from and what made it change. And what got you to where you are, and if you can reconcile that partnership, then do. And if it's not worth it, then don't, and walk away based on your legality checkbox, because you can do that. So
and I've found in so many cases that when you do reach a point where it becomes difficult to move forward, and it starts to become a struggle, then that really is the time to step back and rewind a little bit and look at the steps, but prior to what led you there, and discovering, okay, where did we go wrong? Where do we have the misstep that we should have seen, and go back up a little bit, fix that, and then move forward again.
But fix it in a way that aligns with your business and your ethics and your principles.
Sure. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So since you have gone through some fairly rapid growth here fairly recently, perhaps you've seen some roadblocks that you might be able to point out to people, that they could look out for in their own world that would be helpful.
hiring professionals for professional services. Definitely do that. I think that the combination of the partners that I chose, as well as the service providers that I use, has made it so possible to keep going. Google a little bit and then ask a professional the rest of the question. We hired somebody for Facebook ads. Would I love to be able to do constructive jobs on Facebook ads? Yes. Am I willing to put that risk on the line right now for me to personally execute that? No. Why would I do that? We're going to hire somebody who does Facebook ads every single day, and we can hire them one time to do a job and do it well, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Did it cost us more? Yeah, it did. But really did it? Because I could have blown a tremendous amount of money on bad Facebook ads.
Sure.
And that's, do you spend the money one time and get guaranteed results? Guaranteed from a professional? Yeah, you really should do that for sure.
Yeah, and so many times I hear people that do it the other way around. It's like, do a whole bunch of Google and, try to get all these answers and then do it yourself. I find myself guilty, on occasion of doing that too, because I'm somewhat of a control freak. And, I like to control my own business, my own world, which probably isn't the best thing to do because I'm only good at so many things. And so, definitely when there's things that you can delegate out, yes, it's going to cost you some money up front, but does it really cost, like you said, does it really cost more in the end? Because you might spend a little bit less doing it yourself in the beginning, but you're going to spend a whole lot more trying to fix it later.
Mm-hmm.
And and plus everything that you spent in the beginning is just wasted. So that again is
and the time.
So, right.
I always come back to, well, how much is my time worth? Because now my time is my freedom, right? We started there. My time is my freedom. How much of my time am I going to have to give away to do this? And is that worth it for me to sacrifice that chunk of time value to do something that I could hire out? Usually the answer to that is no.
Yeah,
I don't think we have any more of those, baby.
You can always get money back, but you cannot get time back.
Mm-mm.
And so that's the one commodity that is so expensive, and people don't value their time enough.
Mm-hmm.
They don't value it enough because there is only so much time that we get in life, and we can't get a refill.
No,
there's
you
only
can't.
so much.
Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of times that those choices are easier for me to make because I remember very vividly what it felt like to be at a place where I did not have time. I had money in my pocket. We had so much money that we were able to make really stupid choices. Mm-hmm. But we didn't have time at all. We bought a car. When I was working as a chef, my husband was, he's a heavy haul truck driver. And you can imagine the calamity that scheduling was when we were when we had those two jobs. So we went to buy a car. We both had to be on the car note. And I was having to do drive-bys on my way to other places just to run in and sign paperwork and run out. And I remember walking into this car dealership the day it was time to sign papers, and I looked at the guy, and I probably made this little guy shit his pants a little bit. And like, you have 30 minutes to sell me this car, or you're not going to sell me this car. I have to go. It's nothing against you. It's nothing against this car. This is how long you have. Go. Because I didn't have time. I had zero time available. None. Yeah. I was always negative time, and feeling really guilty about the lack of that time from lots of different places.
Sure.
And it's still so fresh that I don't, anything tries to creep into my little pretty time bubble, and we've turned into such hermits because it's precious. Like, I'm never going to have this period with my daughter 2 weeks before kindergarten ever again.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And she's awesome. Yummy.
Taste one.
I don't want to taste a Jelly Belly. Okay. I guess I'm going to have 2. Thanks. Okay.
Just stick together, Mommy.
We did. It's Jelly Belly time now. All the things that she finds when she's
Yeah, we need our sugar rush. It's almost noon where you're at there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
My girl thinks
as
candy
far-
is a kung fu group.
Oh, it is absolutely. I should have some chocolate here at my desk, but I don't. So what do you think some support and resources are that a starting entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, should look for? That's going to help posture them for some success.
So I think for me, it started with an official, unofficial coach / internship.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a 3-month period in my life when I was working for an agency owner directly. And the deal that I made with him was that he knew that my intentions were to become an agency owner. And the details of that I wasn't sure of yet. But I was only going to do internship work for him if he gave me a top-down view of his agency. And not the oh, here's your little thing, sir. And all I ever saw was the pieces and parts. I wanted to see how it all played together. And that individual helped me identify the qualities that I already had within me and pull them out and position them back to me in a way that made me feel like I actually did have a wealth of skill set and knowledge that I can offer people that has nothing to do with cooking food. And that was my block. And it's a long list, right? I mean, chefs wear lots of hats. But just having somebody else get to know me, get to know my personality and my work ethic, and bring it back around to me in a way that made me realize that I actually was very fucking capable of doing the thing that I wanted to do. And whether that comes from a friendship or, again, an internship is how I got mine, or hiring a coach. If you're a person that is like, I want to hire a coach, find the right coach, but have somebody help you make that list about yourself. We don't see our best side. No person ever sees all of their best qualities on their own.
Absolutely.
And having other people identify for that was huge. Learn some skills.
Yeah.
Always learn more skills, for sure. Could you repeat the question?
Support and different support and resources that a budding entrepreneur should look for. Because you're talking kind of about like mentors and other people.
Mm-hmm. The mentor level was huge. And then finding other people that were at the same place that I was huge to kind of build that support community. I mean, it doesn't matter the industry that you're building a new business in, everybody struggles with the same stuff. How do I organize myself? How do I actually get the work done every day? What does my timeline every day look like? Those things were definitely the hardest things. Sorry, she shoved a jelly bean in my mouth and I'm trying to work it out.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. 100% committing to your time off, setting that window for yourself. Go outside every day. My whole world changed when I started working outside every morning.
Really?
Which is really nice. It's raining today. I have a client that I do executive assistant work for, which has also been a huge piece of this for me too. Like, I'm also working for one specific client in a way of servitude where I am there for him and what he needs. And that has kind of helped me reframe some of the things that I'm doing while we're going through this. And he pays me, it's nice, but I'm an assistant for sure. So yummy. I don't want any more Jelly Bellies though.
But the pink ones are so.
The pink ones are so yummy. No, I'm really okay. No. Sticking to your time freedom schedule.
We're going to be seeking sponsorship dollars from Jelly Belly, by the way. Yeah, there's definitely some valuable advertising going on today with Jelly Belly.
Mom, is that pretty? Mom, he was a pretty.
I know. Okay, you know what? We're really almost done.
Okay.
Really almost done. I promise.
He said Jelly Belly.
Jelly Belly.
He said Jelly Belly.
I will eat the Jelly Belly. She's like
Really,
watching me.
Has to make sure you do it. Yep. So, what would you say that something maybe earlier in life you probably, granted you're still very young, but something earlier in your life that you should have done that you did not do that maybe you should have.
Ella, go on, please.
Eat the Jelly Belly.
I'll eat the Jelly Belly. Go away.
You did it. Yes.
Told you she's gonna be a prosecutor.
Yeah.
I'm done with the jelly beans. Go ahead.
Jelly beans.
I should have. Sorry. Jelly Belly. I don't like that flavor. I should have fully stopped everything that I was doing at the time and place when I made the decision to go to a private 4-arts college to get a business degree. That was not my brightest shining moment. My emotionality came to play in a dramatic kind of way. I made the decision because people in my life were telling me not to do a thing, and I did 100% the opposite, of course. And I am tenacious as fuck, and I saw that shit through for 3.5 years, $85,000 later. So, has it given me lots of cool parts of my story? Yeah, for sure. It has. Still, sorry, my phone's going crazy. Not my brightest shining moment. I love mentoring younger people. Mm-hmm. It's a huge passion of mine. We have 5 interns right now, which is cool. And not all of them fall into the super young intern category. But like high schoolers, I love working with high schoolers because I wish that there was somebody showing me that there was another way when I decided to go to college. And people look at me kind of crazy because, I mean, if you remember from the beginning of the show, my family, like all of my family members have gone to college. All of my grandparents went to college. And that's just a total not normal thing for 30-year-olds a lot of time. And it was just so expected that was something that I do. And truthfully, I think that if I would have started my own voyage earlier, mm-hmm. that I could have had a much different life. And not in a bad way, or in necessarily a good way, just very different. Okay, go ahead. Go find a different one. Okay. Just very different. I spent a huge chunk of my life just trying to prove myself to other people in the industry that I was in. And now that I'm on the other side, I feel that a lot of that time was wasted time. And I think that that's why I'm so white knuckle gripped to my time freedom, because I already have lost a lot of time. So,
Yeah, I totally, I can relate with that. Yeah, mm-hmm. I've wasted even more time than you. In some ways.
Sure. It's fine. Find people who are in places that you want to be and start talking to those people.
Yeah,
for sure. That was the best piece of advice I ever got.
Yeah, they say that we're the sum of the 5 or 6 people that we surround ourselves with. And so mm-hmm. if we surround ourselves with people that have what we want and have achieved what we want and have reached that place that we want to reach, then we're going to be able to glean from them, the information and the knowledge and the experience that we need. And so, that's very valuable because, again, kind of going back to that time, we only have so much of it. And so, who are you spending your time with? Are you spending time with people that are going to get you ahead, or are you spending time with people that are going to pull you back?
Right.
Mom, make me spin around.
And are those people aligned with the greater things that are more important to you in your life?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that's on the next level. Like, we've cut so many people out of our life, and it sounds harsh as hell, right? When you start talking to people about the people that maybe a year ago we were spending lots of time with, and now, I mean, those people are nowhere to be found. But that says a lot too about the things that happen within you when you grow and you start learning more about yourself, and you're more aware of your surroundings and your intentions. And then you're more aware of the intentions of others. And that thing, it happens together for sure.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that that kind of wisdom and that kind of awareness you're mentioning, it sort of happened at a certain point in your life, which is ironic, because there actually are studies that show that at a certain point in our lives, at around 27 to 35 range, that's when actually our brains mature to a point where we can see those things.
That third life crisis, that was almost exactly that age window we talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, it's ironic that it's not so ironic that, that's when it happens, because for so many people, it does happen then. That, you see things, we sort of hit that aha moment at that time frame.
And I crammed a lot of life into that time period too. I mean, I had 2 kids, and by 27, I had 2 husbands. Right, I'm on my second, and it just is. I spent my childhood growing up and moving around, so I got that piece out of the way early. Just lots of things that played into that. I don't think my husband was expecting such a dramatic shift. It's been a dramatic shift for sure. Yeah, he still only thinks I'm a little bit crazy, but we're getting better. It's good.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's the expected. Yeah, there was definitely a period of time when all of the pieces and all of the concepts of our business model that we're selling to our clients, they all were existing in my knowledge plane, but I had not figured out how they all work together yet.
Sure.
And the only word that I can use to describe those couple of weeks, it was a little manic for sure. Because you have it, right? You have it in front of you. You know that it works, and you just stare at it until it just pops up. And it took a while. That was the most concerning time, I think, for him. But we figured it out. And it was like, oh, got it.
Yeah, it's that visualization.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of power in visualization, to where you look at it and you visualize it and you imagine it so much that it becomes reality. And that there's so much power in that, and everyone should do it.
But right before you get to that place where it is reality, it all looks fucking crazy. All of it. Mm-hmm. And you have to persist through the what the hell is going on in my brain. Mm-hmm. Do I need to get my meds checked? Like, there were lots of thoughts that flipped through for me at that point. I'm like, no, this is just growth. And I think for a lot of my life and a lot of my career, I was the girl in the man's world. I would get passionate about something and I was crazy. I would get angry about something and I was crazy. Like, always. And you get attuned to knowing that when you have a reaction like that, the people around you are going to think that you finally fell off your fucking rocker. And you expect that. But really, it's growth. It's not crazy to have new ideas. It's not crazy to think really big. But those are the ways that you get from the place that you are to the place that you're going. And sometimes you don't even know where you're going, and that's when it feels wacky.
That's true. But you also have to kind of trust your own gut, trust that instinct, because that is something that is a gift that we all have, that we should listen to.
Yes.
Don't question that little voice inside, because chances are that voice is probably more spot on than we give it credit for.
Yeah, for sure. And then people ask me how we got into that place, and it was because I had time just to sit still and be quiet. and really think about shit. And that was new. That was totally new. It's much easier to work 70-hour weeks and not have time to think about anything at all, because then you don't feel things. You just do things. And yeah, so.
So what would you say your greatest strength is?
Aligning people's strengths. Identifying people's greatest strengths and then pairing them up with other people who have complementary strengths.
Yeah. So it's that team building and cat herding kind of
For
thing.
Sure.
One of your strengths.
Yep. And that intuitive piece, that super strong gut instinct that I learned a long time ago that I had to listen to. I mean, I was an executive chef. I was hiring people in to come and work right next to me in front of a stove with a knife in their hand. And there's a huge piece of that in the restaurant industry where you just have to say, well, my gut told me that this is not a good person to have around me, and I'm not going to hire you. Because you make me feel icky, and I don't know why, but I do. So no. Yeah, stuff like that.
So on the flip side of that, what would you say your greatest weakness then might be?
Allowing others to help me. Letting people in is really hard. Because sometimes to the delegating thing. Sometimes it's I've built up these really awesome, super strong walls kind of thing, and I'm really good at putting on a super good face and not being honest with myself and people around me. Like a great example is last week when I was going through just these exhausting swings and I didn't even know what it was. And I was talking to Amy in a Facebook message, and she goes, no, you're growing, you're having like energy shifts and you're exhausted. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what it is. And it made a lot of sense. But being able to vocalize that is something that is definitely a new skill set, and it's still really hard. For sure. Like, hey, I'm drowning, I need help. We're working it out.
Where would you say you get your best ideas at? Is there a certain place that you go to let those juices flow, so to speak?
I love to be outside. One of my favorite, like I feel like I'm cheating the system, time freedoms is when I take my portable desk and my Wi-Fi hotspot and my laptop to the park, and I let my kids play while I work. Being outside in nature with fresh air helps me think in a dramatic kind of way. Aside from that, I really do my best work after 10:30 p.m. Always, my whole life. I'm a nighttime creator, and for me now that I'm a mom, I think it plays a lot into, I know that that's when I can be uninterrupted and allow myself to think all the way through something. But it's not exclusive to that period of my life.
Yeah, and I understand that. In a past life, I was sort of in the IT industry, and so all of my design would happen like after 12 o'clock. It was like, middle of the night. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with a brilliant idea. I'd either have to sketch it down or fire up the computer and start designing it.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes you have to. When you're in a creative space like that, for sure, you have to sometimes. And really, all of us are creators. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs, especially ones that might not necessarily think of themselves as creative or artistic, it's hard for them to conceptualize the fact that when you're building a business, you are literally being a creative person. Yeah. And it stretches their brains in ways that they're not used to. I'm pretty lucky in that I'm kind of 50-50 left brain, right brain. I can be really wacky creative, and I could be really analytical, which is nice when you make systems for businesses. You can play to both sides. So,
Sure. I'm the same way. classically trained musician on one side, yet at the same time, I'm very, very analytical. So I sort of split the two worlds, and I totally relate with you there.
No, and it's awesome to be weird. Let that freak flag fly, buddy.
That's right. That's right.
It is good.
So kind of winding up our time here today. My favorite question of the whole podcast is the one people probably dread the most. Tell me something about you that nobody knows. There's a little trivia question there.
Something about me that nobody knows.
Yeah.
All right, I can't say nobody because I've told my husband this, but it's still
okay.
A good one. And it plays right back to that left brain, right brain thing we were talking about. Okay. So when I decided that I was going to go to the Art Institute of Jacksonville, Florida, I went to my like an open house thing. And I'm driving, right? And what I didn't know is that there was a Florida Coastal School of Law and an Art Institute that shared a parking lot. They were very close together. So there's a pretty dramatic running joke in my life of, oh, Carrie, yeah, she went to her law school open house and ended up in art school because it was pretty. Shiny, pretty. Because it could have gone either way. 100%. That I was faced with two buildings. Neither of them were very well marked. And I walked into the art school and that's where I ended up. But no, totally could have gone either way. I think about that a lot, actually, especially as I've come into needing law services through going through my divorce and custody issues with my son and other shit that's just popped up. I'm like, man, is it too late? And now that I'm a business owner, I'm like, yeah, hell no, I'm never going to go to law school. But I thought about it for a hot minute last year. And I have thought about that a lot, actually, over the course of the past 10 years. So
interesting.
So maybe that's the thing, because maybe I always thought that I would be an attorney and I'm not.
I guess if you ever decide to change careers, then we know which direction.
That's where I'll go, right? I mean, I already have 68 grand in student loan debt. What's 100 more, right?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, then you're entering my world, and I'll be able to help you get out of that.
Yeah.
Well, Carrie, it's been been a great pleasure being able to get to know you a little bit better and dig deeper into the person that you are and what's going on in your world, and also just letting people hear different things of interest about you as a person and as a business person. How do they get a hold of you to be able to do business with you, though? What kind of content do they need?
The easiest way is to find us on Facebook. Aurora Beacons is our name brand on Facebook. You could also find us at aurorabeacons.com. Or you can find me directly, Carrie Ann Walters on Facebook.
It's pretty simple. Carrie Ann Walters or Aurora Beacon, either Facebook or .com. Perfect. It's been awesome. A pleasure and an honor having you on here. And as I say to everyone, we'll see you around the bend and down the road.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.